Hello everyone, this is Akaitago again, and I really wanted to make this video mainly because of the misconception that most people think about Duck Hunt as a character overall. Honestly, in the current meta, I feel Duck Hunt has like many particular niches to play around, like Diddy Kong, for example, or Samus. There are some characters that are very oppressive in their neutral against most players. Most characters. Like Charshot alone could make your overall neutral so good with Samus if you do know how to use properly. And also characters like Cloud backers. I mean, it's pretty funny because I talk about Cloud and the first thing I say is backer, but the point I wanted to cover in this video is how Duck Hunt has to maneuver his neutral around some characters. Like, I really feel like Duck Hunt is one of the hardest characters, not because of controlling his setup. Like, you can just go to training mode and just jump around and move with the can, and you'll eventually find out it's not that hard to do. But why it is so hard to play with Duck Hunt? Mainly because Duck Hunt's best move is definitely the can, but in the current meta, where so many characters rely on their movement to trap and I don't know, be dominant against some other characters, Duck Hunt has a very long range where he can just throw a can, and most characters can just run under it. Like it is so simple to um to counter attack just one move that Duck Hunt heavily relies on. But I really want to emphasize how important it is Duck Hunt's overall movement to compensate these matchups. And people very pretty much underestimate how good Duck Hunt movement is. Like his initial dash is very important to his moveset, and his range also helps him a lot regarding stuff like hurtbox shifting. He has very a lot of combos he can just do from just forwarder, which is a very safe move on its own. So whenever you wanted to play Duck Hunt, you have to remember that any character is gonna try to bypass the can in some way or another. Especially those characters that has very good dash grabs, dash attacks, and characters that can go low profile against some of these projectiles. And sure, there are so many characters that can just run away, and then how can you counter it? You can just of course space your movement, use down tilt, but I really feel like the most important matchup check some Duck Hunt players abuse is to just go kill pigeon, because it is such a quick move in its own. Technically it goes frame 17, I believe. Yeah, frame 17. But the move itself, it's very good to counter dash grabs, because I can go for side B. Hold on, I'm using two controllers, so it is a little bit hard. Okay, so this is a grab for Pro Controller. You see? And Clay Pigeon will counter grab very easily, since the hitbox comes out on frame 17, but the Clay Pigeon itself generates on frame 1. So this is why it is a very good counter for grounded movement. But as soon as people understand how powerful Clay Pigeon can be, then they're just gonna go, full hop. It has more than a second of end lag, and that's something very stupid abusable, especially even for characters that usually don't rely on full hop, like Snake or characters like that. And okay, if your character relies a lot on his ground movement or grounded options, there's no impediment to just roll and go for Clay Pigeon. Roll under the Clay Pigeon, and you even have 20 or 30 frames to punish, I believe. Because 64 frames is a lot, more than a second. Usually you can just write to stuff for 20 frames, I believe. It is a very fun experiment. Try to shield a raw Mario F smash from point blank, like at a completely random timing. It is almost impossible to do it. You have to get like a super godlike reaction time. It is absurd. But a 20 frame startup move, it is very easy to just go around and mess up with that roll F tilt. And then suddenly Duck Hunt has like Clay Pigeon on stage and he's off stage after like a dash attack or something. And the worst thing about Clay Pigeon is that you can't just throw a can after it, so you're very vulnerable whenever you throw it. It is a very high risk, high reward move. But even then, Clay Pigeon isn't very consistent at higher percents. Like there are some guaranteed follow-ups from until like 70%. I would say like 76. It depends on the character, of course. But like you see, whenever the opponent goes into tumble animation, that's when the eye starts to become a problem for Duck Hunt. Because you doing double Clay Pigeon, it is way riskier that way. Because whenever you fail one of these, you're dead. I will believe you're basically dead if you are like both 90%. Because it is a whole second. I can't emphasize enough how big of a deal that's it. And this is why many people really like to just like go for Clay Pigeon whenever some characters start to go like under the can. But they don't abuse the good movement option the con has. Like, ignore that dash attack, that's no stupid. But like just go pivot F tilt. You can just even like run, turn around down tilt with the C stick, and that's usually pretty safe. And there are some characters, like meta characters, that have very poor recovery. Like Cloud, for example, or Pyramid Mithra. Actually, down tilt is such a Cloud killer. That's it, he's dead. And like, what can you do about it? It is like such a good burst option for Duck Hunt with such a good move. Like, it packs a lot of stuff, and it is very safe on shield. It is like the best thing about down tilt that it usually comes by on my mind every time I play is this. Okay, you have a free can easily. Instead of just like throw a can at distance, you're dead, right? But whenever you get like a down tilt, it is such a good moment to just like throw a can. I think I covered in one of my videos, but the most important win condition for Duck Hunt is not throwing Clay Pigeons. I mean, sure, it's strong. It deals to good kill confirms. But at some point it becomes very unreliable, I believe. Especially around like 70, 80 or 110%, where DI it's a super huge factor. So a very useful tip for against Duck Hunt is just like react to how they use their projectiles and how your characters can maneuver around them. There are some characters that are basically like screwed up, like DK, Bowser, Samus, and Diddy Kong, mainly because they can't go under the can very easily. Or at least their projectiles and overall neutral get shut down by any of the can's projectiles. But at the same time, there are some characters that can just like bypass everything the Hans does. It is a very fun concept, but this is why Duck Hunt is so hard at top level. Because you can just like randomly find any character that can just like play their own neutral instead. And just like ignore everything Duck Hunt does. Like, look at this example. Okay, so Duck Hunt has like the can here and wants to pressure with Wild Gunman. And everything got shut down because I press B, the can goes the other way. And Mega Man just like go and pressure with their pellets. And that's it. This is why there are so many misconceptions about Duck Hunt being so terrible without his projectiles. when actually I really believe he has such a good frame data and advantage state with his forwarder. His forwarder is so good. I remember like one of my biggest tournament at Brazil, some people were telling me like, dude, how is your forwarder usage so efficient? Like, I really feel like it has range, it has frame data, low landing lag, good combos. Why shouldn't I use it more? Like, you can just like compare it to Palutena's forwarder and it goes pretty much the same. Like, what combos do you have with Palutena? Forwarder into dash grab, check. You have like forwarder into dash attack, check. You have like forwarder into dash grab. I think I already covered that. You have like forwarder into forwarder, check. It is literally Palutena's forwarder. So that way it gets way more intuitive. And maybe if you want to go like for shield pressure, you can just like go forwarder down tilt. Since down tilt will like most likely hurtbox shift the hunt in a way that it is very hard to punish. You see, this is like my first frame. Oh, he looks adorable. It's like his first frame of landing. Then I buffer down tilt. She just like randomly teleports like a big way backwards. So forwarder, it is like a good range move and very susceptible to hurtbox shifting. And down tilt, it is very susceptible to hurtbox shifting as well. Like right now, I'm buffering grab, grab. You know, that one will like lean backwards to avoid any counter attack, and then grab. By the way, Duncans has one of the biggest grab range among frame 6 grab characters. I think Being Gunner is the biggest one, so that's a really random piece of trivia you wanna know. So that's basically it. You have to get very consistent with Duncans win condition, which is his can, and be aware that there will be many characters that has like a very most straightforward neutral, like Rob's neutral there, or Gyro, for example, or Mario's backer, which is also a very useful move for neutral. And as a Duck player, you have to be like very creative with how you move with the character. You won't rely every time with the projectiles. So keep creative, look for tournament videos, and good luck, man. I really believe that Duck Hunt can do more than just being a projectile character. I mean, there are some matchups where you can just abuse it, the heck out of it. But remember, you have way other movements, okay? So that's it. Take care. It's not a very deep video, I believe. It's just like some thoughts I got in mind some time ago. So take care, guys.